What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, undefeated, newly crowned, undisputed, lightweight, world champion, superstar boxer, Devin the Dream Haney, who is now 28 wins, no losses, no draw, 15 wins by way of knockout, 23 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach, after defeating and dominating dramatic performance over former unified lightweight world champion Australian star boxer George Cambosis Jr., who is now 20 wins, 1 loss, no draw, 10 wins by way of knockout. He is 28 years of age at 5'9" with a 68-inch arm reach. That was June 4th in the United States, June 5th in Australia. And Devin Haney, he pitched a shutout, winning every single round against George Cambosis Jr. in his own country in Australia, okay, on foreign soil. But with that said, everybody wonders what's next for Devin Haney, who became the first 4 major sanctioned belt holder, Ring Magazine lineal lightweight world champion since Sweet Pea Pernell Whitaker was undisputed at the lightweight division back in 1991, but that was the 3-belt era. Devin Haney is the first 4-belt era world champion to hold all 4 belts. So with that said, everybody wonders what's next. Now, for Devin Haney to secure this undisputed showdown with George Cambosis Jr., Devin Haney, he had to agree to sign a multi-fight deal with legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO Bob Arum and ESPN to secure this fight, okay? This is a legacy fight, so he did so. We all know that Devin Haney has DHP Promotions with father, trainer, manager, and CEO Bill Haney, okay? But they partners with ESPN to make this come true, to bring it to fruition. So he had to have also, he agreed to a rematch clause with George Cambosis Jr., okay, to have an immediate rematch should George Cambosis lose over in Australia. There was a lot of things that Devin Haney conceded to, okay? He conceded to taking far less money than he's accustomed to at $3 million, while George Cambosis Jr. received well into his highest payday of his career, receiving $10 million, okay? So with that said, that was, you know, a dramatic increase for George Cambosis and a dramatic decrease for Devin Haney as far as revenue goes. But Devin Haney, he was just concerned with becoming undisputed, okay, and daring to be great. So he had to agree to this immediate rematch. Now, George Cambosis and his team recently stated that they are activating the rematch clause 100% to stage this rematch with Devin Haney, okay? And so it looks like that could possibly be next. But Devin Haney, he recently did an interview in which he stated that his eyes and his focus is on undefeated 3-division world champion superstar boxer Gervonta Tank Davis, who is now 27 wins, no loss and no draw, 25 big wins by way of knockout. He is 27 years of age, 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach, okay? He's coming off of a dramatic 6-round knockout victory over a fellow stablemate and WBA lightweight title contender in Rolando Rolly Romero. Now, that took place a week before Devin Haney's fight. That was May 28th, okay? So with that said, we know that Gervonta Tank Davis, he did an interview with the same platform on $1 Million Worth of Game, in which Gervonta Tank Davis, he stated that, you know, he talked about the sought out, interesting sparring session that everybody wants to see, okay, between himself. The 2 times they sparred between Devin Haney and Gervonta Tank Davis himself, in which Gervonta Tank Davis said he hurt Devin Haney in the first sparring session badly, and then he stated that, you know, Devin Haney got the best of him in the second sparring session. Well, that was on $1 Million a Game with Gilly the Kid and Wallow, in which Gervonta Tank Davis, you know, he's known to have big power. He's a southpaw. We all know this. And Devin Haney, he acknowledges that. He says that Tank Davis got the most power in the sport of boxing, not named heavyweight Olympic bronze medalist, former WBC American superstar heavyweight world champion Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. He said that Tank Davis had one-punch knockout power like nobody else. So he acknowledges that power. So Devin Haney, he's featured on $1 Million a Game with Wallow and Gilly the Kid as well. And he says that Tank Davis absolutely is capping. He didn't tell the truth. He lied about hurting him. Devin Haney said, I was never hurt in sparring. I never fell in at all in my career. And then Devin Haney said, but we're closing in on him. And we're closing in on a fight with Gervonta Tank Davis. And that's a fight that I absolutely want. Okay, he also stated that obviously, his situation is calling for him to have to rematch George Cambosis Jr. And also, there's a possibility that he could seek out another fight that he wants between himself and two-time Olympic gold medalist, 3-division world champion, former unified lightweight world champion, Ukrainian superstar boxer Vasyl High-Tech Lomachenko, who has 16 wins, 2 losses, no draws, 11 wins by way of knockout, 34 years of age, 5'5", 5'6", with a 66-inch arm reach. Okay, so with that said, he said that's another fight that he's seeking out. Right, that's he says that beating Gervonta Tank Davis and beating Lomachenko will give him the credit that he's looking for, right? That he deserves and he's garnering. Okay, so he stated that beating those two guys would be the the icing on the cake for him as he's creating his legacy in these 135 and 140 pound division. Now, what's interesting with Gervonta Tank Davis is that this fight can take place at 140, because I know a lot of people are saying, well, Devin Haney, he ain't going to be around at 135 much longer, right? Devin Haney, he's let it be known that he's growing out of the division. Okay, he's the youngest of all of the fighters, and that's considered, especially the 4 kings. He's slightly much younger than Ryan Garcia, who's a lightweight Mexican superstar title contender at 23, but they're months apart. Ryan Garcia is a few months older than Devin Haney. Then it was Teofimo Lopez, who's 24 years of age, former unified lightweight world champion. And then you have Gervonta Tank Davis, who is 27. So he's the youngest out of all the bunches. He's even younger than Keyshawn Davis, who is seen as a prospect right now. But that's because Keyshawn, he decided to stay in the amateur. So Devin Haney is young. He's growing out the division. And Devin Haney, he stated that, he wants to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. That's pretty close to being the #1 objective. He stated that, there's a lot of chatter. Gervonta Tank Davis, he stated that Gervonta Tank Davis, after Devin Haney got the best of him and essentially made him quit in the doghouse rules at Mayweather Gym, which saw his father, Bill Haney, collect some money from former 4-division world champion, superstar boxer Devin the Dream Haney, Adrian the Problem Broner's father, that made a wager with Bill Haney on, the Gervonta Tank Davis, Devin Haney sparring session, right? So it was being reported that Devin Haney, he made Gervonta Tank Davis quit. Devin Haney stated that Gervonta Tank Davis, as well as Gervonta Tank Davis, they acknowledged that Gervonta Tank Davis afterwards reached out to Devin Haney to run it back. And Devin Haney said, no, we could run it under the lights for all the marbles when it all counts, but I ain't no glorified sparring partner, right? So he said, I ain't going in there and sparring you. We could do it for money under the lights and make it happen for real and prove to the world, not in private, right? So he said, I'm not no sparring partner. I'm building a legacy. So he wants this fight with Gervonta Tank Davis. But like I said, Devin Haney is the youngest of the bunch. Devin Haney is growing out of the 135-pound division. But with that said, Gervonta Tank Davis, he fights anywhere from 130 to 140, right? He fought at 130, became a champion. He became a champion at 135, and he beat Mario Barrios, former WBA regular junior welterweight world champion, Mexican star boxer, for his WBA title regular title at 140. So we know that Gervonta Tank Davis can make the 140-pound limit. So now if Devin Haney needs to move up in weight to be able to, if he's growing out the division, and he needs to move up to 140 because that's his plans to move up to 140. If he moves up to 140, well, the fight with him and Gervonta Tank Davis can absolutely still happen because Gervonta Tank Davis can campaign at 140 as well, okay? And it's not like it's not like Devin Haney is an enormous size junior welterweight, right? He's moving up from 135. Now, he is growing, like I said, he's outgrowing the division because he's simply, younger, right? So he's still growing. But as far as just natural weight, he's not that big of a guy. He still can make 135 135, obviously, as he had to hire a nutritionist, but he can still absolutely make 135, right? So with that said, this is a fight that can still happen, at 140, right? So it's a major fight. It's a huge fight, in my opinion. I definitely think that, it's a super fight that's building. For sure. I believe that this is definitely a super fight that's definitely building. And I think that, it absolutely needs to happen, right? So with that said, he said that Tank Davis didn't tell the truth about hurting him in sparring, that absolutely was not true, and that the walls are closing in on Gervonta Tank Davis making this fight. Now, we know many people, they felt like, that Floyd Mayweather was holding up this fight. Now Gervonta Tank Davis is a free agent. Nobody knows if he's actually re-signing, but this is a fight that he wants. He stated that he wanted to make the fight happen with Devin Haney, and now it seemed like we're on the verge of getting this fight. But first things first, Devin Haney got to take care of business to rematch with George Cambosis. That's all I got for y'all. It's your boy Blue. Peace.
Oh, it is your boy Jada Kiss. Make sure you check out Blue Blood Sports TV. It's going down.